All right, so we should be live.
Looks like you are.
All right, and we are, let me see if I can get to, there we are. And we're back to my cam so I can see, got it. All right, look like maybe we're ready to go. Only problem I have is that is it Bluetooth on that? I don't think so. I think it's just not on my, it didn't switch. Let me turn this on and off again and see if it switches back. Oh no, it did.
Now it's
It did for a second, sorry. All right, let's see, here we are. Yeah, sounds like this will pick this up and then we should be good. All right, can somebody say something?
something.
Perfect.
Here.
Awesome.
All right.
So today we are going to do something
Uh-oh.
a little bit different. And I'm going to have a couple of web views. What happened?
No, you're just stuttering.
Uh-oh, okay. I'll
No.
fix that.
Yeah, the not foot cam, the Broadus cam froze. The foot cam is working fine. The Broadus cam is frozen. But the foot cam is muted, so if you're talking, okay. Okay,
Can
the
you
Broadus, we can see you're moving.
Did you want to highlight foot? Did you want to highlight foot cam?
I think we got to turn off the audio on the foot cam or something that's causing this. So that's the issue. We are going to work on actually turning the audio off on the foot cam. Or you can actually log out and log back in, I guess. Although it might grab this. Bless you. Bless you.
Oh, thanks, guys. Sorry, thought I was on mute.
So usually you have to click it and then stuff appears at the bottom of the screen. And then either, see, now that's on, that's off. Can we do some audio somewhere?
I was trying to find the setting for disconnect.
There we go. All right. So we disconnected the audio on the foot cam. Can you guys still hear me?
Yeah, you're not
Okay.
stuttering now.
All right.
Time will tell.
Well, we know now how that works. So today, let's go ahead and let's start up our warm-ups real quick. So let's go ahead and I'm gonna make sure I get a little bit of sciatica stuff because I got it kicking up again. But let's go ahead and let's first get some ankle rotations in. Some real just kind of slow warm up. I know that you guys are great at doing that a little bit on your own. I'm just trying to catch up. All right, just stretch. Let yourself relax. No bouncing. This is not about necessarily pulling yourself into a stretch, but just slowly stretching out. This is a good place to start letting other things go that's not part of practice, which I have a million in my head right now. This is a good place to kind of get your meditation zone going on, that clear head. The more you can do that here, the more you can go into a fight, just thinking about the fight. There are a lot of top athletes that use this warm-up time as the time to get into their zone. They just take it nice and slow and they breathe. They go through their normal stretches because that has a certain duration of time. Once they do them enough, they don't even have to think about them as much. So they just kind of fall into them, which allows you to open your mind better. All right. So let's get some good body core stuff going here. Look like Torrin's going to join us for some warm-ups. So let's flat foot. Once again, flat foot. Just go down to where your knees, where you feel okay. Push yourself a tiny bit. We always want to push ourselves just a little bit. Not enough to hurt yourself, but just enough that you get a little bit more every time, right? You don't want to make everything too easy, that it's not actually practice. You don't want to make everything too hard where you can't practice again. All right, let's get get about 10 of those. Again, keep your head up, because if you look down at the ground, your back will get a worse angle at it. In other words, when I look down, my back is lower than my angle of my shins, which is actually bad for you. So if you keep your head up and eyes up in the air, and breathe as you do them, not in a huge rush, really looking for clarity of head here today. Just breathe. If you just have to listen to my voice and just kind of let that be part of it, that's fine. All right, now we're going to go into our toe ups. So now this is the same squatting exercise, but we're going to be on the balls of our feet. The idea with this one is let's keep our back straight like normal. And again, keep your eyes straight in front of you. And then push up on those toes at the end. You'll notice that this actually kind of kicks that balance in place. If you have to, get up on those toes and stay there for a few seconds. And breathe. And then back down. You'll find that once you get up there, you're going to find that really nice place where you can feel it right in your toes. And you can find that balance. We all know these so well, we should be able to feel like everything happening in our feet. All the stuff happening in our balance. All right, let's get our rockers going here. Again, we're going to be on the balls of our feet to start. Going to roll onto that front one. We should be at a point where you're feeling it on your toes, and you can literally lift your back foot sometimes. When you lift that back foot, you'll find that you fall on the ball a little bit more, but that's fine. And then all the way to the back one. You easily lift this one. Your foot can be flat on the ground. Try to keep your about 50-50 across your foot, though. Don't rest on your heel too much on those backs. And then back. Again, here, we're just trying to make and feel our body better. Like right now, I'm working on trying to put that 50-50 point, which is actually more difficult than I thought on the back foot. Sit down into that a little bit more, William. There we go. And then back again. Remember, when you travel this, you should be literally perfect flat head all the way across the front to the back. That back should always still be perfectly in stack or in that horizontal space. We're leading these with the hips. So when we do them slow and quiet like this and clear, what we can do is start really honing into our bodies a little bit more. And you can feel where maybe you have weaknesses. You can feel that whole thing. Sometimes it's good to go fast because it allows your brain just to let go. Sometimes it's good to go slow and let your body tell you what's going on with you so that you can make good decisions later too at what you have to work on. All right, let's switch them. Very nice. Same thing, nice and flat head. Remember, you want to get into those legs a little bit. Should be able to feel when you roll on those front toes. You should feel it go from the ball of your foot right onto your big toe and stuff. And if you stay there, get that straight, you can feel your leg shaking, right? and those toes engaging. There we go. The key there is we don't engage our feet like this a lot normally in everyday walking. So when somebody tells you, hey, you're hitting much better, tell them it's because your toes are stronger. That should generate a conversation. All right. So some nice warm-ups there. Let's get those rotations out, get those hips rolling. Routine is a big part of the beginning of everything to allow your head to clear. So one thing that you want to do is find time for your routine, especially even at practice, because if you don't practice your routine, when you get to an event, it's not going to kick off that space that you want to really be in. So find time for that routine. I even am poor at that myself. For a while, I was very good. Lately, not so good. All right. So we got some warmed up in our legs. Okay. Just shaking them out a little bit, not real hard. But so I was talking to somebody today, and they brought up that what happens a lot, it's talking to a couple of people today actually, is as they go into a fight, they're sometimes it's like the ladder drills are separate than the fight. In other words, how do I take a ladder drill and apply it to a fight? So I think today we're going to try something. First, I would like everybody to figure out, and if you have a ladder, that's fine, but I don't even want you to pay attention to your ladder. And we're just going to run a couple of really quick drills through the ladder, and then we're going to turn that drill into a quick drill, essentially against a tree. And that way everybody can start, and we'll talk about that ladder to engagement. That way everybody has a better understanding how that works. So our first drill on the ladder. Let me switch which view you have, because I'm not sure which view you have. You have the cam view. So
I've got
let me,
both.
yeah. I got to get to it. I think that's it. No, that's my cam, Bruno's cam. So I got to get the foot cam. Sorry. There we are. Now I can see you. Let me replace spotlight. There we go. All right. So the first thing we want to do is, let's not even go on a ladder this time. So let's just do our simple 2-foot run. Small feet. No ladder. Do it right next to it if you have to, and then go back and do it. And just feel comfortable in it. You don't have to worry about your little steps. Let's go backwards this time. And forward. And backward. And forward. And backward. And forward. All right. So that's our 2-foot run. How does that apply in a fight? So that's going to be our next question. So it seems like a really weird scenario of how do I apply those little feet in a fight? Well, here's what happens in a fight a lot of times. So they can see you. We'll do this against a bob or a tree as well. Here I am. We're outside of range. So I want to throw something. I step. Look how big my feet are. So instead, I might do something like this. I'm on, and it's just, look at it, the small little feet. See what's happening in there? So I'm taking small feet, get in the range. Look how, now he wants to go back. That's good. I might get in range and then change over here. But my feet are always gathering into small space so that I'm good and grounded and can throw. I still can move. All of that's still happening. So I want you guys pick a tree. And literally, I'm going to turn our things to the trees. There you go. And everybody pick your bob. Go ahead, you grab that tree right there. Yeah, we can go up both at that tree. So stay at the edge of range, and then I want you to go in, go out. Go in, go out. This time I want you to go in, go sideways. Go sideways the other way. Go out. Go in, sideways. Don't care what side. Other side. And out. Okay, do we see how that's working? So when I'm fighting somebody, I'm going to get some feedback from them. Here's the first thing I see a lot of people do. I get in my form, I'm waiting. And then you start coming forward. So I'm waiting for him to do something. I'm losing immediately. You know what's going through my head? I want them to do something. It's not, you know what's going through my head in this case? The idea being, I'm going to immediately, this fight has to be mine. So the first thing I do is like, I start moving a little bit. Guess who's moving first? Have giving and taking, changing tempo. But if I'm here and I'm waiting, I'm a beat behind already. So as soon as they call lay on, look what happens. This is what I do. Lay on. I'm attacking with distance. There's a fight going on from the lay on. Do I care which step I take? No. You all know how to make steps and agility on from the ladder. The idea is you press one side. If it looks good there, go to the other side. And then as soon as you get him into a place where he's behind or she's behind, you have opportunities. Now, just because you see an opportunity doesn't mean immediately you can go for it. It means that it's an opportunity later. Learn about your opponent. All right, any questions on that? Bess, any feedback on what's happening? We're going to talk a lot more about pushing your opponent right away.
Actually, I like that because you're Henry move. When we talk about little feet, it's almost like, I don't know if you can see me, like, oh, I'm coming. Oh, here I come. Here I come. Here I come.
Exactly.
That's what the ladder teaches me. And I'm like, that's not going to happen. Just wait for me. I'll be there in a second.
But
it was effective. As soon as Brownus came in, when he said lay on and came in at the angle, I immediately, even though we don't even have armor on, I immediately started holding my breath.
yes. Yeah. So just doing this, sometimes you could be the one that wants to counter shoot. But if I'm just waiting for a counter shot, they have time to set me up, and I may not get there in time. So they can be ahead of me, which gives them opportunity. But instead, I might just do this. All of a sudden, now look, all of a sudden they're not sure if I'm taking the field or not. So this is in your case. Sorry, man, dropping names.
Bess?
No, not you.
Germanicus?
Germanicus, in your case, when they're saying that you're always falling out and they're getting frustrated. Yeah. So as soon as you can do something, fall out and then get back in. But go back into a corner. Maybe a regular length. Because if he's holding, put your sword up like in one hand. There you go. So as soon as I come in a little bit, and then I'm going to come into this corner. Or he steps forward and I go out. As soon as they stop, then I'm going to go back into that corner. It doesn't matter which corner you go into, depending on if you attack a sword, it's more dangerous, but you have more opportunity. If you attack a shield, you have more safety, and you can actually get more time to breathe, depending on your opponent. But I could still be that person falling out of everything, but they're going to stop at some point, and then I'm gonna change. See, now they're not sure anyway. Look at this. He's not sure to go in because I'm controlling that range. Every time he wanted to make a commitment forward, I got here and they're like, oh no, we're close enough. And then I leave. And then I'm back into the range I want to be in. Sorry, we're off you for a second. Hold on. I'll do it again. So here we are. This opponent always wants to come forward at me. I get a little, then I change angles. And I go in. Look, all of a sudden, he's not sure.
And I'm going back.
And then you're going backwards because you're not sure if I'm coming in or going, which is concerned because they're trying to control the distance, but now they're not sure what the distance is. So every time I go in, they think they're in a distance, they stop, and then I change it back, and I roll around. You remember that little figure eight? This is like essentially the figure O. I'm in, drop that butt out, and roll around. So that's kind of how those small feet work.
Okay, and also too, it seems like the small feet are what are the difference between a bum rush to a corner and that actual motion you're talking about where you're pressing.
100%. What I'm looking for in this fight is exactly where our distance is.
Yeah, because the thing is, if I take large feet,
Right, now I could fall. As soon as back, he takes a large foot,
halfway in,
and I want to get in for wrap.
and then I'm lost.
Right. Right? So you know, he's not controlling that distance. And this is all about controlling that distance against our opponent. So what we're trying to do is, if this is our distance, to stay in this distance. He's very comfortable in this distance. Oh, not so comfortable anymore. I just changed it up. Right? Look, I just created distance, right?
Yep.
Just with little tiny feet, I created that distance.
Okay.
So the agility of that is done on a ladder. Execution is done in the fight. That transition from agility to against your opponent, we don't want to have to think about what exercise we're going to do with our feet. I might double check here and then do a back foot slide over. Right? Because it's comfortable. I didn't have to think about that. I just did it. But the key is, right at the beginning of the fight, is apply some tension. Right, exactly. So I'm learning in that space. All right, let's go to the next one. Hopscotch. Again, no ladder. Right? Just simple, small little, maybe some big ones. Speed. Back. Forward. Back. Forward. All right. So how do we apply that in a fight? Right? Here's probably the simplest way, and then I want you all to execute this on your bob or whatever you have in front of you. Here's the first easiest one. I'm here. I use that long rocking foot. Bang! Look what I just did. I created that half a hopscotch. Right? Could also be here. I'm already here. Hey! Bang! Wrap. Right? After if I'm in here and I bang here and he jumps out, then I have to bring him back together.
It can also be the response. It could be the response. Just getting.
And watch this hopscotch. Ready? Get in one. I'm going to swing at that leg. You take him away. Oh, look, now it's a hopscotch, right? Yeah. Okay. So that's how that's happening in a fight. So you can use that. I'm a little bit close, and yeah, I throw a shot, and he just pops out. Okay. Or we're bound up. Hey, drop here, throw wrap, same time. If I stand here, what happens? And I don't drop, that angle of the wrap goes down. All right, so you see how hopscotch works. So go on your pal, and I want you to work on both of those. We'll go over here, and we're going to give like 10, 12 times here. So think about those two things. Get right against your pal, and drop and throw wrap. Or drop and throw a leg shot. Okay, let's hear it more. I'm going to watch a little bit. Again, we have to watch how our knees are. I'm on you, Germanicus. Good. Make sure the timing all the same. Good. Nice. Good part about hopscotch too is you're dropping into that ground. Creates more of a powerful shot. See how Ness is doing over here. If she's still here. She may not be able to do this. Let's see. I'm here. Here she goes. Good. And then back up. And that's exactly what we're talking about. You can just do that and come back up. You don't need to throw shots. You can just focus on the exercise. Now, we're going to do a little bit of Wrongballer here because he does it a lot better than most people I know. This time, we're going to be in a spot. We're going to be a little bit wide, and we're going to pull them back together and out and then back. Out, back. Out, back. Okay. Here we are. Out, back. Out, back. Out. Try to keep that head up. Don't do this. Be careful of this. Because then you lose balance. Right? Keep that head up and you could be down here and scoot out of it, but still look at their face. Better. You see how you got a lot more control there? Yeah. Try both legs at the same time, Billy. See how you're doing one leg at a time, right? So take it really slow first. Get in your stance and just bring your feet together and back. And back. You see how all of a sudden you're starting now when you bring it together, getting behind. Yep. And back. Good. I'm going to see how other people are doing because this looks like a little bit more of a difficult one. Best, that looked good actually. The back one. Let's see it on the pedal. Pull them out. There you go. So don't take your whole body back, or you're actually practicing something different. That's fine.
Not trying to practice something different. It just kind of happens.
Okay. Well, now just think. This is the same thing I did with Will. Just think of only the one part where you bring your feet together. Get closer to your pedal. You're right on it, like you're already doing something.
Okay.
There you go. And then bring them together and a couple inches away from the belt. There, and then back in. There you go. Good. Now, hey, now watch that pedal action. Okay, there we are. And out and then in. So now leave your upper body, like kind of stick your chin out while you're doing it. Yes. There you go, back. So the key on this is to think about it at a range. It's very easy to think about it close. There we are and out. But now we want to be at the edge of range. You're here at the edge of range. One foot's head, one foot's back. The idea here is they're going to throw at something and you're going to take it away. Pop, back. Feet are back under you. I can throw. Pop, I can throw, and Wrongballer does that really well. His time of hop out. Wrongballer, come here and show people what you do. His time of hop out and throw, he kills people with it constant. Usually hitting them in the back of the arm. So he's this.
He's switching his stance. He's not going straight
Not no
back.
more. Yeah,
Okay.
the thing he doesn't do as much is he doesn't bring his feet together. So, and that's perfectly fine. I find it a little bit easier. Yeah, sometimes it's one. If they're swinging at the forward leg, he brings it back and throws. But he has to keep his head up. Otherwise, he can't hit his opponent in the shoulder. Right, so here I am. I'm fighting him. I'm going for that leg. He pulls out, throws for that arm. You see what's happening? I miss, he throws that arm. Yeah. So that's what's happening in the hopscotch drill. All right. So let's do it a couple more times. I want to see how everybody's doing. Nessa, how's this one on your knees? Not good, huh? Okay. So are you hyperextending possibly your knees? What you can do is actually, yes, your husband does this all the time. The only bad part your husband has is he looks down at the ground. All right, good. All right, that's the way. You see all of a sudden? Yeah. So if somebody's fighting, if I'm fighting you, here I am, I'm gonna go for that giant leg. Exactly, now you can throw that big long arms, you could actually throw the staff or the hook over, right? Same with you, Will. Go for the leg, see, now you're way over the back of the head, right? All right, so that's the hopscotch drill. Let's talk about skiers. Okay, skiers with the gather. So I'm going to go back to reminding you guys what that is on the ladder. So skier with a gather is essentially here I'm in, I drop out, and I put my foot back in. I'm gathering that foot. Should almost be at the same time. A little bit of delay. All right, so we're gonna do that without a ladder. Okay, and you can go backwards while I go forward. And backward. And forward. And backward. Always gathering and forward. And backward. All right. I'll warn you, we're getting a couple drops, so I'm just watching it here. Gonna throw a couple things in my bag so I don't have to worry about them.
Bronis, did you get your helm back?
Yes,
Good.
absolutely. All right, so skier we do already in practice as we already do in fight. You know, because we are always looking to get to opponent's side. There I am, just dropping the skiers into the side. I could drop it straight forward. Just drop and go. Right, so you can go to either side. I use this a lot in practice in a fight. I could be way out here. I want to see what they do. He jumped backwards. What did that tell me? In fact, not only did he jump backwards, but he pulled his legs out, which means he can't go anywhere else after that. So I learned two things in that one. But what I learned here is that he's going to try to keep range. If he were just, so now I learned that he's going to go sideways out of striking. Or if he just hunkers down, now I got different things. All three of those lead us to help us understand what our opponent's going to do in these exercises. If I don't know, and I pre-plan something, here I am, I'm going to throw the leg shot, but he immediately takes it out. Well, guess what? I'm throwing nothing. And he has opportunity. Right? If I go to the side and he goes to the other side, okay? Now, one thing I saw in this is that his legs, his feet aren't actually pointed at me anymore. So I have some opportunity. So watch this. He's going to do that same thing. This time I'm going to fake going to the side. And then I'll be right back in front of him. But you see what's happening in there is I'm learning what my opponent's going to do. So on the Pell again, okay, or on your bag, whatever you want to call it, what I want you to do on that is shoot in. I want you to, first one is shoot forward and then back again. Shoot to the side and back again. I don't care how you get back. You can walk back, you can back, put it back. I don't care. Shoot to the other side and back again. Shoot forward and back again. So you notice that this is almost a little bit like a jab. Added together, you could change this up. I could fake like I'm going one way, just take a little outside jab foot. So, because if I take too big a one, I can't go the other way. But I could bring that foot forward and then go back the other way. Right? I could take a tiny step, go back this way. All of those are little tiny fakes that allow that step to work. So we're bringing it from the ladder to the tree. Problem with a lot of times when we work on a ladder, we're like, okay, I'm going to do this on wrong boulder all the way down the line. Well, that's not how it's ever going to work. So we have to change things up. So when I'm doing this with Sivert here I am. Look, Sivert's going to follow me. Right? So he's just changing it up as I go, right? So now I can, right? So, but I can do this. Yeah. Oh, look at that. I just created something. Okay, let me show you that one more time, that little fake. There we are. I get them into the motion, see what they're doing. I know they're following me. They're not just turning. There we are. Same thing happens if they were just turning. Even easier when they're turning. I'm on the outside of his foot again. So do we see how those skiers are working against somebody? Do we kind of understand that? I want to see you guys all do it here for a second. Same with you guys on the tree. I want you to add that little tiny jab foot and see how comfortable you are, how fast it is. Because if it's not fast, then you need to change it. You need to make it smaller. That's the way. Good, Bess. Germanicus, I'm on you for a second. Good. Yeah, give that front. If you're going to do that, go ahead and do kind of the jab to the front and then rotate around. So do a good drop foot on that front one. Okay, drop, gather, and fall out. There you go. Good. So now what I want you to do this time is take a small step, but go the other way. Take a step towards your right and then go left. Small step, tiny. Yeah, even smaller than that. Like 2 inches jab step. There, a little more. 2 inches. There you go. And then out. There you go. Good. Do it again.
It almost helps to think sometimes that it's just stomping your foot, not even moving.
100%. It's kind of that foot stomp jab, right? That we talk about, but it's all the same kind of thing. Nessa, I want to see you do it on the camera here for us. All right. There you go. Shoot. Anya. Good. Really make him think that there. Little bit more power into that first jab foot. Yeah, make him really believe it. You have to believe it. Make that dog believe it. Woo, there's some foot right around the dog. All right, that's the way. All right, Bess, I want to see the jab foot. There you go. That's 2 inch, and then go the other way. There we go. Good. That's what we're talking about. All right, so that's our skier applied in a fight. Right? So you see how all of these they're applicable. So in other words, we're not just doing them on a ladder for agility, although that's actually what we're really doing for our body and our mind. But in the end, that's all just comfortable. You know what you're doing. You have the ability to do it. Now you can think about how to apply it. And not only think about how you're applying, you're like, okay, I'm going to start that movement. I'm going to give a jab. I'm going to give a jab. But you're evaluating how your opponent acts after it, and that's what really becomes the big part. All right, let's talk. The next step is just really our wide skiers. So everybody remembers those. Those are relatively simple. Again, all we're doing is this time we're going to push off that toe. So yep. So be careful not to go up. Try to go as sideways as possible. You're going to start falling into the shot and then push at the end. Now, if you start falling and your body, what happens there is if I start falling here, but my body is already leaned over here, this foot's gonna slide out. So you have to be careful. You gotta keep that perfect straight up and down. Okay, that was the back one. There you go. You see how you can still push off that. Good. Do that a little bit back and forth. Get those big wide ones. Make sure your body is over that foot. And when you land, if you land and that foot slips out, that means your body again is not centered over your feet. All right. So let's take this to a fight. Again, you notice we could do this back and forth. I'm going to long jab. He's going to take it away. He's still staying in front of me, right? So now the only difference is I might take a short jab and then a long jab. Ooh, that's right there. Terrible body. Get you back over here. So I might take a short jab and then a long jab. Right? Or I could just do that fake one. Thanks. Longer. I'm way on his side. The key I really want in this exercise when you're fighting somebody, and think about it on your pelt. One way to do this is put some tape on the ground as your opponent's feet. Is I'm outside that toe, and I'm way outside this toe. Right? That's the side of the body I want. You can get outside their hips. you have a lot more opportunity. So this time, same exercises as the last one, but a little bigger feet. Small jab, big feet, big wide guys. So here we are, long forward, out to the side, however you want to get back. Long. And we do this with the jab, right? We do this with that long jab. And then we can go back wherever we want. But essentially, we're just falling on that front foot. And we're gathering. This is really important in a shot. I've been working with side and lots of people, and it's funny because best knight from Trimaris, not Bellatrix. What is her name? Bree. So somebody asked, hey, I have a really tiny squire and she has hard time developing power. Did you have trouble with it? And what she said is, yeah, I mean, there were people I couldn't hit, but what I had learned was how to fall into that shot. This is really the quintessential part of what is a drop step. You're dropping that power in at the same time. And your foot hits, everything hits, right? We're doing a little bit more gliding with our drop step. Maybe not really a drop step, because all we're doing is traveling, allowing our hips to carry us. But in a real drop step, the power's coming in here. And then you can come back, right? So beware, if I'm close, this is what I used to do on wraps all the time. I lean, I'm not even jab stepping anymore. Let me show you what that looks like. So I'm not even gonna jab step anymore, but I'm gonna go around that side. All I'm gonna do is lean onto this front foot like I'm drop stepping into this front foot, because they're gonna think I'm going to this side. They give us partial turn, and then I'm over on this side. What I'm doing is loading up on that foot. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Here we are. Load. Go. Do it again. Load. Toes. Please be careful of your toes. Yeah. So sometimes when you load that, you might have to turn your foot into that load. So watch my foot. Okay. And then you go. So it's load. Bang. It's not gonna big turn. It's just loading into that foot because your knee is going outside of it, right? And again, we have to watch that a little bit. If I load over here and I'm foot and knee is over my toe, it's fundamentally weak. If I just turn a little bit, it stays over that toe, and then I load it onto it. Woo! Grass is really dry out here. Load. Burn. So just do it nice and slow. Load first. Load, your hip should be falling over that front foot first. All right, I'm gonna check out, see how people are doing. Lady, that doesn't look good. How's your hip today? Oh, recovering from, oh, gotcha. Yeah. All right, Germanicus, I'm on you. So I want a nice good load and then go. Now give me a harder load, like you're actually gonna throw that leg shot. Yeah, now make that load a little faster. Okay, so when I say load, make sure you're actually giving a little bit of pop in that knee. Just be careful of your knees. There you go, that's a little better. Yeah, and there's nothing wrong with adding a tiny, like, you're probably taking too big of a step. Take only half of that size step. Good, that's better. Now do it the other side. All right, Nessa, do it. That's away. Nice quick load on either foot. I don't care which one. Remember, that load is just bending your knee a little bit. Doesn't have to be a lot, just a little bit. And allow that foot to turn. Allow your heel to turn out as you bend that knee. So if I'm bending and leaning over to a side, you want that to turn out. I'm going to show you a close-up of what happens in there and where we should be doing it. Let me see if I can do it on this camera here. Replace spotlight. All right. So I'm going to have you watch my feet for a second. here I am. When I create the load on this foot, what I see a lot is a lot of people just dropping straight down. The idea is dropping straight. You notice that on camera, I'm literally moving to this side. So sometimes if all I do is watch my heel, see how it turns out? So I'm lifting onto that toe, bang. All my weight is on that front foot. Bang. Hey. In fast, it's just a hey. So think about where I'm going. Ready? Here I am. Here I am. But watch what happens. As my foot grinds into the ball of the foot, it releases my heel. And I allow, look, my foot and my toe are still over each other. So that's why that's so important. Because if I don't do that and I leave my foot flat and I shift this way, now I'm twisting my knee out. Okay? And creating weakness in that move. See how that's different, isn't it?
Yeah. It's just picking up the toes and rolling them out just a little bit.
Yeah,
Just that.
exactly.
Or bringing the heel in, one to the other.
So I wanted everybody to see that because I think it's important to save people's, do good proper feet. So, all right, we're gonna go back to the other cam. So that was our large one, skiers. Skiers with shuffle. So the only difference between a skier with a shuffle. See if I got the ladder on there. No. All right, let's get a little more. There we go. There's the ladder. All right, so the skier with the shuffle, what we're looking at, gotta go more, is the only difference here is we're replacing feet, right? As this foot comes over, it replaces the foot that's there. Or it replaces right in front of it. So the idea on a ladder, we're going to take it off the ladder. Here we are, nice and couple. This could be that big, or it could be, oops, sorry. This could be this big, nice and small, or it could be this big. We're almost crossing. But the idea is just think about getting those feet back and forth across each other, and forward and backward. And we'll show how this works later. If you have to, think about changing direction. This turns into our angled one. And then we go straight again. We can do double side to side. We are not limited to where the ladder is. And that's my big piece today. Is we train on a ladder so much, that's what we get used to, and it's hard to break. This is why Rongvalder introduced changing the pattern for Louis, because he needs to break it. He likes those patterns because they help him. And what he did is Rongvalder's like, let's change those patterns. Because in a fight, that pattern is dictated by your opponent and how they react. So let's talk about a shuffle in here. And you guys, everybody has seen these already. I could be working against him and I'm just shuffling along, right? Or if he's just turned, right? Right, and I could change it up, but the idea is if that's a turning. So if I know he's gonna turn on this shuffle, right? Then I might actually not do that. I might make it look like I'm gonna do something over there and then turn it into something different. That wasn't a shuffle, by the way. I did it because that's what. But if he's a good fighter and I'm trying to get around him and he shuffles with me, because all I'm trying to do is turn around his edge, right? Because if I could turn around the edge, I'm the one leading this fight. If he can stay directly in front of me and not let me turn that edge, right? Right. So now it's harder because I can't get in the lead of that fight. So in those cases, what I'm going to do is I'm going to change that shuffle up. I might change the time of it. Right? So what I'd like to see on the tree, we're not going to worry about our hips being on the tree in this case. We're going to pretend that your bag's following you a little bit. Is a shuffle. And then change. Then change. Every time I say change, I want you to change it. And I don't care if you mess up. If I say change and you drop out, I don't care. Because if you care, you know what you're adding? A layer of thought. And now your opponent has opportunity. Right? So all we're going to do is change, 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 change. All right. Now we're going to do that drill, but we're going to shuffle around the tree a little bit. We're going to go halfway around. Wrong bowler was just doing this. Halfway around. Halfway around. Okay. So let's try those rotationals around the tree now. And go. I'm going to watch a bit. Nice, Bass. That's the way. So now this is a great exercise because you're going to find yourself actually being able to do this one a lot in real fighting. And we're going to show you. I'm going to have Wrong Bowler show you what he does with that. Nice, Germanicus. That's the way to do it. NASA, that's the way to go. So you might find yourself doing this with somebody that's a turner. So I'm going to do this with Wrong Bowler for a second. I'm fighting Wrong Bowler, and he starts into those shuffles.
Turn the cam.
Oh, sorry.
Turn the cam.
Be closer to the tree, please, or do that. Yes.
All right. See how he's taking advantage of me? See how he took advantage of me again?
Bronis, did
You guys need to get again?
Bronis, did you feel pressure from him just moving around you like that, though?
Well, if you don't move, if I have to move. So the
Okay.
pressure is I can't stay still. I can stand here. This is no pressure. As soon as he moves, I'm behind already.
Right.
I'm behind again. I'm behind. I'm behind. I'm behind.
Does the
There's always-
fact
Go
that
ahead.
he's staying at the same range impact your thought process at all? So he's doing a semicircle and the line is the same, but he's not coming in or moving out. Does that impact you?
So here's the thought on this. If he's already controlling me
Right?
and I'm behind him, you actually don't want to change range too much.
Oh, okay.
Because what I see a lot is, go ahead, turn me and fall away. So now I get the reset. Thank you very much.
Ah,
Now we can go back in this fight. Now let's go again. Oh, now I get the reset. Thank you very much. I did nothing for him to actually leave, did I?
What if he comes in closer? Wrong Balder, would you do that?
Okay. Yeah, then the pressure. Anytime somebody gets within throwing range, there is pressure, period.
So I think part of what I'm hearing here is what we're talking about doing is how to apply a specific move in a
Yes.
fight setting. So what we're seeing is now we're seeing a fight setting, but only one move. And like you said in the last one, there won't be one move.
Right. That's
So
gonna change.
what will often happen in here is I will cut around and he'll move, and I'll cut around and he'll move, and then I'll lean back and then back in because this movement lets him relax. Oh, finally he's let go.
And then he can throw.
Now I can come back in again. Right. So
Ah,
there's other
okay.
things in here. When I was looking earlier was all these things they piece together. So the one that I always had a problem with was this one.
Oh, yeah.
This is, I'm not going anywhere. What am I getting out of this? Right. But what I get is if I'm moving like this, and then in the middle I do this,
I don't even know what's going
he
on.
has no, all he knows is I'm moving, but I'm not going anywhere. And then I suddenly go. He has to literally wait until I choose a direction, then it's too late. So I'm finding this
Show
move
that
that I
again.
hated is actually useful in the middle of all kinds of things, right? I can lunge in and
And I just have no fucking clue.
so when you see this, I'm getting off a tangent.
No,
So
it's good.
So when
No,
you see
that's
us in
good.
this, we're literally just talking about this move, right? So we're learning how to use this and maintain this distance, and then how in this setting can I control my opponent with just one move, and then we'll learn the others, and then eventually you'll see in weeks after Penzic, we'll start doing some of this other stuff. He'll have us do a lunge, a stutter step, and then a sideways lunge, right? Now we're getting close to the figure eight.
So the other piece to remember here is if If Rongwalder's way out here and he's rotating, I don't really care,
Right.
right? This is what I see a lot of. Even if I'm behind a little bit, I have time to catch up, right? So he's not going to do that out there all the time. He may just to see what I do, but he knows there's not the pressure yet. He's going to get a little closer where now I have to engage. I have to block. So now I'm uncomfortable because he's right at the edge of my range all the time. Like any point there, he could stop and throw. Watch. There he is, right there. There it is. So he goes and steps in, gets a shot. Even if he doesn't step in, he can throw. Bang. Bang. Bang.
So Ron Balder, earlier when we were doing this, you're like, oh, I could take a half step out and then Bronis relaxes and then I come in. Would you do
Yep.
the let him relax so that he thinks he's okay and then psych him out by jumping back? Would that be a tactic you would use?
Yeah, I use it a lot.
All the time. That is absolutely attack. Watch it.
Well, apparently that's good. Keep up the good work. Ah,
Right, so for a moment, he goes, and the moment he begins, if I close, his mind has to try to hurry up and catch up, and the body just simply just goes, "Ugh."
And tensions.
It's a free one. His is he'll move around with all this pressure, and then he'll go, "Ugh," and the person goes, what? Bang. They literally, they go, what? In the middle, they just stop. Because the energy's changed. They don't know what to do with that.
So that's how you break a fight is what's happening in there. Just like he says, sometimes you want, like, I'll be pressuring, I'll relax. And bang,
Yeah. And
I relax. The other person's like, oh, good, the fight's over. No, it ain't.
and the only reason I can deal with it is I've seen it enough that when I feel him in the middle of this and he suddenly relaxes, I slide back.
He's just like, oh, no.
Prepare for him to move.
Exactly.
He feels it, he changes his plan. That's the only reason.
Okay, so using that stutter step then to break it up in a way that you've got the opportunity.
Yeah, even worse, you don't even have to have a step in there. I could literally be working. See that? I hesitated long enough. He started breathing, and then I fell right straight at him. And I closed that range.
Okay, so it's not just a stutter step, it's a hesitation of any kind to do it, it sounds like.
You got it. And actually breathing out helps this. Literally, I'll be here. He's holding his, he's holding his breath. He has tension. And I'm like, oh, I release my tension. And then I go. When you release your tension, your opponent wants to release naturally. So you're using the natural things that your opponent does against them.
So instead of faking a throw, you're faking a break.
You're faking a break, which is just changing the tempo of the fight.
It's still a fake. In a lot
Still
of
a fake.
ways.
Right? You're still controlling your opponent. Does that make sense?
yeah.
Mhm.
All right. So let's do a cross behind step. And Romeo is just going to demonstrate a cross behind step. So he's going to do a couple sides and then do a cross behind. Yeah. So here he is. See, now he gets a bigger cross. That cross behind throws him behind me. So he does a couple normal steps. I got a pace at which I'm working. And then he breaks that pace. See that anytime he got ahead of me there, and every time I tried to catch up, he went back the other way, and I could never actually catch up. But this also goes into this running side to side thing. If I don't turn and he starts doing stuff, and then he throws that. Now you notice how he's getting partial turn around me. He actually opened his back leg a little bit. Okay, let's do that again so you can see it. Regular shuffle step. I'm staying up with him. And then look where he is with that back step because it's larger. And as you know, you can beat somebody with that. You can actually turn that back step right around the corner, which opens up more of the back side. You can look for that back shoulder. So here we are. There we are. Look how far he is. So we went from a shuffle step to a complete back step and created an opportunity again because we changed the tempo and speed. Actually, we didn't change the speed. We changed the distance of the step. Yes. Exactly. So I want people to go ahead and get on their pal. And this time you're going to do exactly what Romualder just showed you. You're going to go side to side, and then you're going to just go around that pedal a little bit, get comfortable doing it. And then go ahead and add a long step around your belt. If you want to engage a sword in that, as that step is being done, as that back step hits the ground, bang, as your recovery foot hits the ground. Here, I want the throw isn't here because you have no hip. The throw is when this foot hits the ground. So here I am, big step, bang. This you could practice just by itself. Big step, bang. Making sure you have, just like we practice against gloves, the timing of a blow, this is exactly the same thing. You watching them? I'll watch this. All right, Bess, let's see. Do you see how that change of step really all of a sudden makes you feel like you're speeding it up, but actually what you're doing is you're just making a longer step. There you go. Nice, Germanicus. That's exactly. And your timing on the shot was very good, too. Nice. That's
Cross
the way.
in front, but still, that's the idea.
So for you, Germanicus, this is exactly the issue that you're having with people at your practice. Is like, okay, you're falling away and they're like, well, this ain't any fun. Well, technically, that's great and all that. You're having fun because you're doing stuff and you feel like you're being successful. You know what's not fun is them not feeling like they can hit you. Well, oh, that's too bad, right? I'm sorry you're not having fun. I am. I guarantee you that Mark is having fun and not getting in within step of people. But by always being on the edge and maybe falling back a step and getting back in, if you keep a person in tension, what it does is it fools them in believing that they're actually in throwing distance. All right, Nessa, let's see it. Nice. Yeah, got to get that timing in. Good. Yep. Remember, as you go back the other way, if your front foot is the one that needs a cross, then cross with your front foot. Sorry about that. I froze up. Can you guys hear me?
Yep.
Okay, good. So do you understand what we're kind of doing here? We're kind of changing a pace in the middle of the fight. The good part is we're at just the edge. And because you're moving, your opponent can't stop and throw. Most, especially out west, Germanicus, what happens a lot is that when they get ready to throw, they're like, move, move, move. Okay, I'm going to throw. They set their feet. Well, you're still moving. Your target is gone. So they have to move and then reset again. So you're just not giving them the opportunity to set. This is very much, this is the reason why we do. Go ahead.
Nessa is still highlighted, FYI.
Yeah, I'm going to go back to ours. Look at that. There you go. You go, girl. Okay. So the idea here is that in the West, what happens is if you're moving and then you stop, they stop and they're like, oh, good, I'm going to set up the throw. And then you start moving again. They're like, oh, I got to move again. So sometimes you can literally set up for a second, let them you could kind of see them trigger and change. And like, they're like, okay, I can throw, and then move again. But don't move away, move into a different corner. Because really you're breaking their shot by just moving. And like what Nessa did for about a month and a half was she went defense only at practice, right? And what she learned was she didn't have to throw. She learned that, you know, she could still stay in there and be defensive, but put herself in better places where the opponent can't strike you. So if I'm right in front of my opponent like this and they're comfortable and I'm comfortable, they can strike me. They're very comfortable. But if they're right there and they're getting ready to strike and I just shift this much, they're like, now it's a different blow. And they're not as comfortable with that blow. So just by moving a little bit and then changing back, right? And I'm still in their range. But for them, their blow has changed. Either it has to be more rotation to the blow to get you, the distance changes, you know, even if it's like, here I am on you, and I come in, and then I come out a little bit. But I come into B range, and then I step back out to C range. And maybe I throw a couple shots to make sure they know, you know, maybe I throw a really quick shot on their sword to pin it, make them know, we're in striking range, I can hit you. So don't give me this crap, you can't hit me.
It's funny because that's how I just barely lost to Sir Nikolai in the Rose Tournament at West Ontario. I was just in his range. I had been about an inch or two to my left, it wouldn't have mattered.
Exactly. So that's why those rotations around just little steps. I mean, Saib hates it because every time she's like, ready, go, and I'm already stepping into her shield. She's like, can you stop doing it? And she's like, okay, we're practicing something. Here we go, ready, lay on. And I'm like this. I'm like, oh, sorry. It's just natural for me. Because if I step into the shield, I just put their hip a tiny bit back and those shots become rotational instead of across the body. They have to throw them rotation. And which makes it easier to see. It's easier to see, it's easier to block.
Yeah, because I had been an inch to his left, it would have jammed him. Wouldn't have been a good shot.
Mm-hmm. So that's the idea in why we just keep moving. Because as soon as you're standing in front of somebody, you're giving him opportunity. Okay, Ron Welder want to say something.
Okay, I apologize because I did it already. So
that's okay. You can do it on me because I want to hear it.
So what's happening here is as we do this, when we go back and forth, we keep this nice balance, right? Hips over, or shoulders over hips, right? Even when we do a lunge, everything stays balanced. But you need to use my bob. So now if I go around him and I go really fast, you see the lean? Yeah. Now I'm pointing down. I'm exaggerating it, but that's what I get is I'm pointing down. Yeah. Okay. This balance has to maintain all the time. So when I'm going around him, whatever speed, I have to push my hips forward more so I can keep this. So I can move him around this way. See, I'm always pointing at him, still pointing up. I don't want to get to the point where I can get around him, but I did it so fast, this is all I have. So the same things. So the same things apply to this, like with everything we do. Shoulders stay above the hips. Your hips drive, but everything comes with it. Right? So now when I go around, I'm letting my hip pull my body around, and then I can take it one step in here. So still be facing. No, I'm dizzy, so I'm
And at the beginning of that, he was doing gather steps. And then when he did that, the long step over there, he did a back step. So the idea is he just changed those up. You know, all of those footwork, you know how to do that. We've done those rotationals around Bob. We've done a back step. We've done gather steps. All of those, you don't have to think about. You may have to think about balance. You may have to think about, okay, that wasn't perfectly balanced. I'm going to get better balance. Great stuff to practice and practice. When you're in a fight, there's nothing wrong with, if I'm here and I do this and I back out, make sure you're out before you start thinking about, oh, that was bad. I got to fix that. And then let it go. Because you don't have time in a real fight to think about all the things you have to fix on yourself. Because what I should be thinking about is like, oh, that was bad. Okay, I'm putting back pressure on him. I get my body straight. And I'm going to make sure he understands the pressure. I'm on him. I'm thinking about him. I'm thinking about my fight being offensive. Now, defense is just natural, but I'm thinking about pushing pressure on him. Like I'm just pushing those corners, pushing that leg, head, right? There we go, right over. Right? So let's do that one. Actually, that was a nice. Let's do it on the tree. what we're gonna do, you guys are gonna do that on your bob, is we're gonna point at where you're gonna put the pressure. So here I am, nice body, put it back into pack head, leg, right, offside, onside, outside leg, onside leg with the wrap, but point and then go that way. And change them. See how you can have more intent now?
Yeah. Pushing the 4 corners.
Yes. And this goes back to one thing we practiced before, and that is we are pushing the 4 corners of the box, right? I'm okay with you guys thinking about this as a 4-cornered box, but later there's 4 corners in front of this box and there's 4 corners in the back of this box. Right. It is literally a box. So when I think down here, I'm thinking this is my wrap. Get around us. Offside. Wrap this side. Offside. Wrap down here. Wrap up here. Again, while you're thinking about and pointing those corners, you don't want the corner to be too close because they're already moved into blocking position. So if I go, I'm pointing with the wrap here. Now I'm pointing with the sword on side. They didn't have to do much to make that block. So you're giving them a time that they don't actually have to think and change. So you're giving them a break. So that's why we want to move those corners, make those corners large so they have to think about them all. And I don't even care if you know you can't hit that corner. Make them think about it. Because if I never think about hitting, like Wrongbalder, I'm going to go back here. If I'm fighting Wrongbalder, you know what corner I don't think about? Sword hand. Sword hand. Wait, which
You want me left-handed?
Yeah.
Left hand.
Okay. I don't think about this leg. Because guess what? I'm going to hang out here because he's going to hit me offside head, right? He's going to hit me onside head or he's going to hit me in that leg. And I'm just going to cover that. I don't care about this. Now with Wrongbalder, I know that there. Look at that. Now I'm in a fight. I have to think about all 4 corners.
I don't want to throw it because he'll rip my back. But this motion makes him.
And his
something.
intent, he's looking right at it. He's like all of that energy. I'm like, oh, that's not good. But now I have to think about it.
Now I can go back to the other.
Now he can go, and these are freer because now he can put pressure over here. And now all of a sudden my head opens up, my shoulder opens up. Because he added another layer of thought in my head that he gave me another point to think about. Does that make sense? All right, on the tree again. On your bell, I want you to point at the corners. Yeah, I'm just kind of, they're doing their own. Yeah, don't have to look at them to make it feel like that's what you're going at. Yeah. Now watch your ducking your head into it. You don't have to duck your head into it. Literally, shit, right in. Keep that eye. Okay, keep that head nice and straight. There you go. You can just drop your butt to the lower one. There you go. All right, I'm watching on mic. So again, this is all about putting the points on these. Nessa, I want to see your attention on your bell. Yeah, good. Yeah. So one thing you got to remember when you apply this tension, sometimes you have to linger on it. And I say that's kind of weird that you have to linger on it. But if you make it too fast, your opponent doesn't actually have to think about it. You're into your next one. He's into his next one. Or she's into her next one, not thinking about the last one. So sometimes if you see that they don't pick it up right away, linger on it. There we go. Because just like Nessa just did, she kind of lingered on the leg. And then when they saw it, that shield may float down and then she went offside head. Right? So those are the reasons why sometimes you have to linger on some stuff. All right. So we're going to wrap her up so that our folks get some fight practice. We got a young man here that looks like he wants to fight everybody. So we're going to give him some opportunities. I really want everybody to think about what we covered today, though, because I really want to bring the ladder into the fight. And there's a lot of fight discussion. There's a lot of fight discussion about we don't want to be in the place where I'm waiting. Watch what happens when I wait with wrong ball. Here I am, right? Wrong baller feels like he has a free day. He's literally, I don't have to worry about this guy. He's literally waiting for me to hit him. Thank you very much. But watch this now. I'm going to let wrong baller go ahead and be in the front of that game. Oh, look, I just did a jab. Now, oh, look, now all of a sudden, right? So now all of a sudden, at just that little jab, he's like, oh, nope, now he's going to throw at me. Now I have to think about something. Now I have to start changing time. But if you're waiting, you're going to get hit. So the key is you have to enter this fight. Me and wrong baller enter a fight. This is exactly what happens. Look, he started already. So did I, didn't we? We're not even engaged yet. Right? Did you see either of us stop and wait for the other person to move? If you have a problem with this, what I want you to do in every practice is as soon as you go in here and they call lay on, I want you to take one step forward. Right into a corner. Same thing, right? One step. Right around your opponent. Right? Every time. Ready? Lay on. There we go. We started right away. Because if you wait, it's too late. You're playing catch up. You might catch up. You may not. Did that help everybody?
Yes, sir.
Awesome. That's I really wanted to cover that. I'm gonna call out Bess because she wanted me to cover some of that, and I thought it was a really, really good lesson. So big thanks to Bess. She definitely made practice a good one today, and I look forward to I'll get it up online and share it with the folks we need to. And thanks everyone for coming out. Hopefully that worked out, even though it's a little short. It was still good.
It was awesome. Thank you.
No problem. All right, folks. We will see you in a couple weeks here. And remember, I want to hear what's going on online. You guys need to all tell me how tournaments and stuff are going and practices.
I sent you my video with a timestamp.
I'm gonna run to.
Okay, thank you.
Lowe's. I'm gonna get a new door knob
All right,
for
bye-bye.
Elizabeth's store.